Hi everybody, welcome back. Today's video is about creating a flawless base for your skin. Since I have undergone chemo, my skin has changed quite a bit in the last, let's say 4 months since I had started chemotherapy. My skin has become a little more blotchy, a little dry. The dark circles underneath my eyes are a little more pronounced than normal. So I figured I would share with you guys my routine on how to kind of create what I would consider normal looking skin. As normal as I can get it for what I'm going through right now. So if you are going through chemo, or if you've just finished and you notice that your skin just isn't cooperating, you might get some helpful tips from this video. And then again, like I said, for those of you that maybe are just suffering from discolorations or darkness underneath your eyes, maybe you might find some helpful tips from this. So if you're interested in how I have been doing my base lately, keep watching. Typically before I get started with my base, I like to moisturize. And since I've had chemotherapy, my skin has been really off. So normally I'm really kind of oily, especially right in through the T-zone, but I have found that lately I've been having difficulty with dry areas. So I got this cream when I was in the hospital. It's called hydrosarin, and a lot of times I use this on my body, but I have this red mark still which hasn't healed. I've had it since December when I was in the hospital, so I use some of this right on that red spot to kind of help combat that dryness, because no matter how much I wash, no matter how much I exfoliate, this area right here still gets very dry. So I use a real heavy duty cream on there. Now if you've gone through chemotherapy, you know that it can kind of, wreak havoc on your skin. I'm having to do a lot more concealing and covering and all that since I started chemo. So it's taken me a lot longer to do my base than normal. What I do next is I use another lotion that has an SPF in it, and this is the L'Oreal Revitalift Complete, and it has an SPF of 30. Most of the time I will use a separate eye cream because again, it's the weirdest thing in the world, but I get dryness like right here in the corners. So this is from L'Oreal also. It's Revitalift Complete Eye. And okay, so now that I've got my skin moisturized and I got my cream on, what I like to do next is put a foundation on. And I've never really been a foundation kind of person. I'm more of a tinted moisturizer type person. So next what you'd want to do is put your foundation on, or your tinted moisturizer. And I like to use this from Sonia Kashuk. I think this is a great tinted moisturizer. And typically I put this on with my hands, but if you like brushes, obviously you can use a brush. Here's a makeup brush that I never use. You could use, if you have the MAC 109, you could use this. Whoops, I just got lotion on it. You could use a brush like this for your foundation. This is a foundation brush, believe it or not, but I would think this would take forever to put this on. This is a Sonia Kashuk foundation brush, but I like to use it for my concealer. Also, if you don't have dry skin, because many of you have probably heard this, maybe you haven't, but if you have dry skin and you use a stippling brush to apply your foundation, what can happen is you can cause your skin to actually exfoliate. It's referred to as micro exfoliation. So if you have little areas that are peeling and you put your foundation on and you turn the brush and use circular motions with the brush like this, you can actually cause that skin to peel, and then your skin, the surface of your skin will appear textured because you got little pieces of dead skin mixed in with your foundation. So sometimes I have areas that look a little more pigmented than others, so if that's the case, then I will go back in with a little bit more of my foundation or my tinted moisturizer and add another layer. So I'm kind of feeling like I'm having that problem at the moment, so I'm just going to put some in right along this area here. Now for those of you that feel like you need some skin brightening, there are illuminizers that you can use that you can mix in with your foundation. I happen to have one here. It's from Napoleon Perdue, and it's called Liquid Veil. This is what it looks like. And It is a super lightweight, barely there tint. But what this does is it kind of helps add a little bit of a luminous look to your skin. I'll go ahead and put a little bit of that on now. Because when you go through chemo, your skin does become quite dull and lifeless looking. So I'm just going to place some of that right here. Once you get your foundation on, what you want to do next is, if you're going to use any cream products on your face, now would be the time to do it. So I'm going to use a little bit of a cream blush. And let's see, I'm going to use this one here. This one is from Fusion America. Fusion Brands America. It's called Crave. I got this, actually my son bought this for me at Ulta. And this is the color of it. You don't ever want to put powder on your face and then use a cream blush. What will end up happening is it will create a texture on your skin, a kind of like muddy looking texture. One thing I don't ever understand when I see other people putting cream blushes on over powder, I mean, in real life, if you see somebody like that, can you completely tell on their skin? Because I know the couple times that I've done it right in this area, especially where I have my wrinkles, it didn't sit right. So, and even if you read in Laura Mercier's book, which I can show you which book it is here in a minute, she's like the queen of a flawless base. She will even say, she even says in her book, do all the cream products first and then powder. Once you powder, you can't go back in and use a cream product on your face. Here's the Laura Mercier book that I have. I have practically read this book from cover to cover. It's called Laura Mercier, The New Beauty Secrets. I've written notes in here and highlighted, and but if you go through this book, she talks about how to do flawless skin, the perfect base, and the steps that you should take, and the types of brushes that you should use, and things like that. So I recommend this book highly. I actually got this at a half-price bookstore near my house, and felt very fortunate to have found that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to conceal, and I'm going to do some spot concealing. Obviously I have areas on my skin that need to be concealed, so I like to use the Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage. This is in SC2, and this matches my skin right now. And what I like to do is use a little brush like this. It's a tiny brush, and I go over the areas on my skin that need to be concealed. And it's good to use a little brush like this. I actually have been doing this for a long time, but when I saw Lisa Eldridge doing it on her videos, it made me feel good, because I was like, alright, I know I'm doing it right. I'm doing the right thing for my skin. So I'm going to go ahead and do some spot concealing. Now I have some broken capillaries right here along the base of my nose here, and this Secret Camouflage does an amazing job of covering those up. So I'm going to go ahead and conceal under my eyes. Now typically when I put makeup on, I do concealer last, but for the sake of the video I'm going to go ahead and do the concealer now. Now a lot of times I have a lot of darkness right in this area here. It's kind of like a, right now it just looks dark purple. Sometimes it can look like a bluish black, but at the moment right now it just looks like purple. So I like to use a skin corrector. Now when I was in the hospital, a very nice person by the name of Tara had the Giorgio Armani Master Corrector sent to me right from Nordstrom's, which was so awesome because I've never had anything from Nordstrom's before. So I have been using this a lot lately. This is the Armani Skin Master Corrector. Before I had that, I was using the Pixie Peach Corrector, and I still very much like using this a lot. This is very brightening underneath the eye area, so if you find that you need something to kind of correct and brighten, I would definitely recommend the Pixie Peach Corrector. Now for those of you that don't know, and Sarah had actually brought this to my attention quite a while ago, You can't just use the Pixie Peach corrector by itself. You have to use it with a concealer. So once you put this on, you get it where you need it, you get it nice and blended, and it's covering all of the darkness or purple areas in the inner corner of your eye. You have to go over it with a concealer. Otherwise, it may look a little too bright or a little too peachy. So this is a corrector. It's not a concealer. Just the same with the Giorgio Armani. So, and these are available at Target. I believe this is $15, but lately I have been liking the Giorgio Armani, so I'm going to go ahead and use that one. And typically what I do is I just put a little bit right there in the corner on the dark areas, and I take a little concealer brush. Sometimes I use my hands, and what I do is I just push that right in on top of the dark areas that I have. And that does a great job of covering that up. So as you can see, that has covered up the purple darkness in my inner corner, and it does an amazing job at that. So now that I have gone ahead and covered up the darkness with the Master Corrector, I'm going to use some concealer, and I like to use my American Beauty Perfecting Concealer. This seems to be just the right color for me. It's about one shade lighter than my skin tone. Place this right into my under eye area. And I do get rather close to my lower lash line. My skin is a bit discolored in that area as well. So I do like to take it right up to my lash line. Unless, of course, I have makeup on, and then I don't. And then what I like to do is just buff that in, and I use this brush here, and I will just buff it in out in this area so that it's seamless. And I do typically take this right into this inner corner here. I'm rather dark there as well, so I will take that concealer right into that inner corner. I love this brush. It was part of that set that I got from Sonia Kashuk at Target. I do realize that these are a lot of steps to follow, but if you're really looking into kind of wanting to make your skin appear flawless and healthy, you know, you just do what you gotta do. We've got all of our cream products done. We have moisturized, we have covered with our foundation, used our cream blush, we've concealed, the whole 9 yards. What I'm going to do now is go in with a powder, and I'm going to use a powder foundation. Under normal circumstances, I would not use something like this, the tinted moisturizer and a powder foundation, but because my skin needs that extra help, that's what I've been doing. And like I said, I realized that this is a lot, but this is just the process that I go through lately to get my skin looking what I would consider normal. This is the one that I got from NYX, and I really like it. I bought that Laura Geller one, and it worked out better for Sarah, so she took that one. But this is the NYX powder foundation, and I really do like using it. Now, you can use a powder foundation with different types of brushes. I happen to like this one. This one is from Sephora, and this is actually a bronzer brush, but I like to use this to buff the foundation. And if you're looking for a lighter coverage, you can use a stippling brush, but again, you have to be careful if you have dry patches and dry skin, because this will cause microexfoliation. So I'm going to go ahead and use my big brush. If you have a kabuki, that'll work too. Now what I do is in the areas that I have spot concealed, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of buff this in very lightly so as not to remove that concealer. Don't worry about the cream blush coming off. It won't come off. It'll just be very subtle, but it will help your powder blush to last longer. If you got short hair or no hair like me, make sure you go onto your ears and then take it down your neck as well. Now again, if you're worried that you have removed some of your concealer, you can go back in very lightly with your little brush and your concealer and just lightly tap it in over the top where you think that you may have removed just the slightest amount of your concealing. Now for my under eye area, I like to use a different powder to set my concealer. So I like to use the Makeup Forever HD powder, which doesn't photograph well, so if you plan on having your pictures taken, don't use this. Your face will look very white wherever you used it. But since I'm not being photographed, I'm not going to worry about that. So I like to press this in right into my under eye area. Helps to brighten it up just a little bit. Now typically what I do next is I apply my blush and my bronzer. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and apply my bronzer first, and most of you probably know this, but I love the bronzer from Clarins. This was sent to me by Little Miss 40. I really love using this. You can see that I have used it a lot. Lately I've been using it sparingly though, because once it's gone I won't ever have another one because it was a limited edition. So, and also another thing, I do not contour my cheekbones. I always feel like I need to say this. I have high cheekbones, and if I contour, then I look even more sucked in. But anytime I use blush or bronzer, it just ends up looking that way. So I have to be careful about where I'm placing my bronzer. But typically I put it, you know, obviously in the areas where the sun would naturally hit my face. Go down the nose. And then typically what I do is I just go right across my cheekbones. I don't go down this way. That's ridiculous for me. So I just kind of go right across my cheekbones and up onto my temple. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and put on a little bit of blush. And I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to use this little brush here. This is a stippling brush that I got from a Sunny Kashuk gift set. And if you watched my haul video with Sarah, you'll see that I got a bunch of these brushes at a really good price. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on. The reason I'm using a stippling brush is because I don't want to go overboard with the blush. So I'm just going to kind of push that in right here. And that's it. That's how I do my base. If I am leaving the house and I don't have time to do a whole lot of eye makeup, I will just put on some of my soft ochre paint pot, quickly put on a coat of mascara, and I'm out the door. But when I want my skin to look, you know, like I said, what I would consider to be normal, that's the process that I go through. Typically, that's not what I do pre-leukemia. I barely did anything for my base at all, but I'm finding now I am having to work a little bit harder at it. So that's it. I hope that this was helpful for some of you. Even if you don't have, you know, cancer, if you're not going through leukemia, or you're having trouble, you know, and you're having trouble with your base, discolorations and whatnot, you know, this could be a routine that might work for you as well. Before I go, I wanted to show you my nails, and they're starting to chip a little bit, not too much, but this is my nails for the last couple days. The color on my fingers is this one here from Model Zone. This is a color that Gemma sent me, and this is called Pink Fever. And I think that this is a brand that's only sold in the UK. So she sent me that, and then on my little accent finger here, I use this glitter. It's called Sweet Violet, and this is from LA Splash. Very nice color. And then I just used a dotting tool and made a flower in the little dots there. Put a little gem in the center. So that's my nails. I hope, like I said, I hope someone finds this useful. Let me know what you guys think. Take care and have a great day. Bye.